Hey guys, welcome back to Dogforge. My name's Paul, and today we'll be taking a look at the first of our spelljamming races. With Spelljammer just recently released and a whole bevy of some of the more unusual races we've ever had, I think it was about time to drop on in and take a look. So let's get started with some hippo-headed folk, the Giff, and I am dying on that hill, Haji. So, first off, we do have a sample of the art right here, and they are really quite hard and tough, badass looking kind of folks. I think scars work well on a Giff character. Their tough hide-like skin would really show that depth of scar really nicely, and they seem kind of menacing. Uh, their facial expressions, I think, might be more limited. I would be interested to see art of a Giff smiling or laughing, but as it stands, certainly very cool looking. Now, I have mixed feelings about them writing the GIF or GIF joke into the actual lore rather than being in an interview, but I guess Spelljammer is the time to be whimsical. And just in the lore that we get here, well, in these Spelljammer videos, we'll be going through the lore more than we do in other typical race videos, just because they're some of the less known to 5e. So, it goes through how they're broad, tall, hippo-headed folk, and that they don't know where they came from, they don't know where the home world is, no living Giff has ever seen it, and they don't know who their creator gods are. Their creator gods seem to be mostly dead, drifting through the astral seas in corpse-like form, kind of like you see some of the fortresses of the Githyanki on dead gods. And these gods still have just enough power to imbue the Giff with divine sparks, specifically divine sparks related to firearms. Presumably these gods are in a almost dead state, as their created race still exists but no longer remembers them to worship them. With that Lord touched upon, let's jump on in, and we do have the standard going forwards, the boilerplates. So you get a +2 and a +1 to different scores of your choice, or 3 +1s to any score of your choice. You get one language in addition to common that you and your DM agree upon that is suitable for your campaign. Lifespan's pretty much the same as a human. Height and weight are pretty much the same as a human, even though it says that they're tall, broad, and they're basically built like hippos. The description doesn't actually give us anything to contradict the human sizing. Coming on down into the fluff, well, into the crunch rather, we have humanoid as our typing. That is not normally something of note, given the rest of the Spelljammer races kind of is. You are medium, you have a walking speed of 30 feet, and you have a swimming speed equal to your walking speed. This makes sense for hippo people. However, I would have also liked to have seen a holding your breath feature, be it 15 minutes like lizard folk or an hour like turtles. It really feels a little odd that they get a swim speed but no ability to actually submerge themselves any better than anyone else. And not being able to go underwater for meaningful lengths of time besides a combat or two really does feel like it limits the usefulness of that swim speed. Next up we have Astral Spark, which is what we discussed in the lore section. When you hit a target with a simple or martial weapon, you can cause the target to take extra force damage equal to your proficiency bonus. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You can only use it once per turn, and you regain expended uses when you finish a long rest. This is really the beginning of the end for the Giff in my mind. This is the first showing of a really lackluster race. Now this is basically just how they reworked the Monsters of the Multiverse version Goblin's Fury of the Small ability. Force damage is better than just whatever your normal weapon damage is. That is a given. However, this is a really, really small amount of damage. You're talking 2, 3, or 4 points of damage extra per turn. It won't multiply with critical hits. So it's incredibly lackluster. There's no reason whatsoever this couldn't and shouldn't have been double your proficiency bonus in damage. The amount of damage this actually adds is extremely insignificant. Whilst any extra damage is good damage, this is just disappointing. Moving on into Firearms Mastery, and you get proficiency with all firearms, and you can ignore the loading property of firearms, so that you can fire more than once per turn. That basically makes firearms a viable character weapon for most martial Giff. And in addition, attacking at long range with firearms doesn't impose disadvantage on your attacks. This is good. The Giff are iconic firearm users. It's baked into their lore, and if you ever see a Giff without a gun, it's a little bit odd. However, I also have mixed feelings about this. This obviously makes you very good with guns, very naturally good with guns, and it works with your Astral Spark. You can add a little bit of damage onto it. However, this basically means if you are a Giff that is not using a gun for any reason, then you are not getting probably the largest part of your racial benefit. And you might be thinking, well, why would you not use a gun as a Giff? You're a Giff. Isn't that the whole point of playing Giff? Use guns. Well, that really depends on the support for firearms in your table, at your table, and it directly conflicts with Hippo build, which is next. Hippo build, you have advantage on strength-based ability checks and strength saving throws. In addition, you count as one size larger when determining your carry capacity and the weight you can push Dragon Lift. So this is essentially powerful build plus advantage on strength ability checks and strength save throws. So this means that these are going to be naturally really good at shoving and grappling. However, you need to really be in melee to do either of those things, which means you're going to get disadvantage on your ranged firearm attack rolls, and the race gives you no way to mitigate that. In fact, ignoring long range from Firearm Mastery means that, if anything, it encourages you to fight at a distance, entirely the opposite of what Hippo build encourages. So I guess that is primarily my criticism. If you're not using a firearm, then you're missing probably the biggest chunk of your mechanics. But if you're not within melee range, you're missing out on another big chunk of your mechanics. And if you're using just firearms all the time, you're missing out on like half of the classes available. You know, if you want to play a full caster as a Giff, then you're basically going to ignore firearms a lot of the time. Not necessarily all the time, but a lot of the time. So it's a mixed bag. Giff are fun. I like the artwork, but I think the race could have been better designed. At minimum, Astral Spark, as we've already covered, should have been double your proficiency bonus. As it goes, it's just not really meaningful damage. And ideally, I would have liked to have seen them being able to hold their breath, even if it was just for 15 minutes, just to make that swim speed make a bit more sense, and to see them be a bit more hippo-like. But that's just what I think. What do you think of the Giff? Do you like how they've been implemented? Do you like the concept of Giff in general? Let us know in the comments section down below. And whilst you're down there, hit that like button if you like this video. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified of our upcoming videos. We will be covering all of the spelljamming races, and we'll be using them for some builds too. So until next time, my name's Paul, and I will see you at the Forge.